Hey everybody, we're checking out Monster Tether. This is a part of the AGDG Demo Day 20. Got the game page open here, I'll just read the description real quick. Monster Tether is an upcoming action-adventure game with beat-em-all elements, following the story of a strange monster with no past in a world of eternal night and on a quest to find his purpose. It finds itself guided by a floating light entity, the first thing it remembers seeing after it opened its eyes. This is a very early build with the purpose of balancing and testing the character and camera's movements. That being said, I had time to code an enemy and implement a gauntlet of sorts, so if you want to prove yourself, show us how many constructs you can handle at the same time. Alright, that's the whole description, so no mention of controls or anything. I've got the game open here, so I'll get rid of this overlay. So this is a windowed game, so it might look a little bit blurry. Being blown up to 1080p. I have not seen anything past what you're saying here. It does mention controls in the bottom left here, so welcome to Monster Tether's Test Sandbox, a game project by Deity Link and Ringo. Z, attack, X, dodge, right click, move, backspace, reset. Excuse me. Whew. Alright, so I guess we have to click to move. Oh, you kind of hold it down. Okay, so that's interesting. So it might be like a MOBA or Diablo-like, I guess. You're controlling movement with the mouse. It's kind of odd. But you're not using left click for anything, so that's interesting. Oops, I clicked off the screen. Yeah, interesting choice to just not use the left mouse button. I don't know if that's planned for something in the future, but we got Z. Oh, so we still aim with the mouse. I'm noticing the upward and downward attacks don't really look like they're attacking. They look like he's attacking off to the right. Maybe he is. I don't know, maybe there's just not animations for up and down attacking, or maybe all the attacks only go to the left and to the right, I don't really know. So that's interesting, and the X is dodge. It's a little unusual to me, the control scheme. Right click move, so I guess that's it, we just hit things and then dodge. And there's a lot of this lighting stuff going on. It just kind of seems like noise to me. I don't really... Personally, to me, it doesn't really add anything. It's also kind of confusing, just the number of shadows kind of going on at the same time. Like there's so many different shadows kind of overlapping, and it just gets pretty weird. Shadows and light sources, it's quite busy. I guess I'm supposed to hit this guy, maybe. So I'll try. Yeah, I don't seem to have any trouble hitting him when I expect to, so... yeah, maybe there just aren't animations for the up and down attack yet. So I guess we kind of have a light attached to our cursor here. It's kind of a very intense spotlight sort of thing. It's not very illuminating overall. Maybe there's just nothing out here. Don't know what these are at the top. Attack to begin gauntlet. Was that what we want? Or is it, just looking at the game page again here, real quick here. All right. Well, it's not explicitly clear whether there's something else besides this gauntlet thing, so I think I'll just look around briefly and then might just go back and then alright, let's just go ahead and try this then. What the heck is that? Oops, that came very fast. There actually seems to be a little bit of a delay from when you push the dodge button. Oh, that shoots right through stuff. From when you push the dodge button to when it actually dodges, so that's kind of unusual. I wouldn't consider that a very good thing. Kind of expect when you press the button, that's when it's going to happen. Oh, they multiply. Ouch. Okay, so there's a lot going on here. And now fighting 4 constructs. What is that click sound? What's that click sound? There's something going on up here. Oh, is that your health? I was wondering what that click sound was. But yeah, okay, so a number of things going on. Obviously, these are very simple enemies, which, judging by the description, he might have just kind of chucked in at the last minute. But I'll just mention a few things that I noticed regarding kind of the design of the enemies. For one thing, you have a lot of projectile enemies, and with this being kind of omnidirectional, if you have projectile enemies coming at you from basically every direction, things can get really hairy really fast because it's very hard to kind of deal with that kind of threat coming at you from everywhere. When they're all shooting projectiles like that, all of their attacks being kind of offset in time. So like even if you dodge one of them, there's like another thing coming right at you and that sort of thing. So you have to be careful with balancing things like that. The shots were fairly fast moving. They seem to have pretty much perfect aim. Just kind of a straight shot straight at you. So stuff you have to be careful with. The other thing I noticed was that they were kind of shooting at me from off the screen, which means you can't see it coming. That's generally considered a bad thing in most games. There are occasional games which kind of give you some kind of indicator that like an enemy's about to shoot at you from off the screen or whatever. But in general, that's something that you want to kind of shy away from as much as you can. And yeah, I think what I mentioned about the dodge, the delay in the dodge is very bizarre. I would not recommend making a dodge a delayed action at all. So yeah, it's pretty tough as it is. Once you get more than like 2 coming at you, it's just, you know, bullets flying from every direction at any point in time. It's kind of hard to keep track of everything. So backspace to reset. Ow. Alright. So yeah, it's kind of silly. I will say that I don't find the controls very comfortable, and that might be me. I haven't spent a lot of time in games that use mouse movement, including MOBAs or whatever. I mean, I have played a MOBA for a little bit, and I mean that worked out okay, I think. But this gameplay, I would be a lot more comfortable with a gamepad for sure. There isn't really anything that in here that suggests to me that I would want to use a mouse and keyboard controller input for the way the game is played. So yeah, I would definitely prefer a gamepad, and I'm sure I could play a lot better with it. It's weird to me to kind of aim both dodging and attacks and normal movement simultaneously, all with like the mouse. So yeah, that's my observation with it. In terms of what the overall concept of it is, I don't really know, like kind of what the big idea is. It's obviously like a sort of action game so far, which is cool. Has an aesthetic to it so far, which I think. I mean, I like the little tripod guys and the little monster guys, kind of cute. I mentioned before the lighting doesn't really do anything for me. I think it's more distracting and maybe obnoxious even, in my opinion. And I know I've kind of seen a lot of these game maker games that have this sort of fake 2D shadows kind of chucked in, which kind of cheapens the effect in that sense also, where it's just kind of, it's as if people add them just for a certain wow factor, but I don't think that it's really that impressive. So I mean, yeah, I'm not a fan of the lighting here. But yeah, in terms of the gameplay, I mean, it's obviously real early, so it's not too much I can say. I think I probably mentioned about all I could so far. So yeah, I did notice there were these debug things, which I mentioned right here, over here, these debug buttons. So it's kind of, I think it's neat to see some debug stuff left in these demos, and I almost kind of wish more people would do that, because it's kind of interesting to see, and also, you know, if there was some kind of bug or something, like a tester like me, if I was to investigate a bug, it might be nice just to have, you know, some debug stuff I could look at, especially like the hitboxes. Like a lot of times I notice when I'm testing games that I'll encounter something that makes me think that the hitboxes aren't very well defined, in the sense that, you know, people tend to make them too big and stuff like that. So it's definitely nice to have hitboxes that you can just look at, and I wish more people would do that. I did notice that it, let's see if I reset this here. I'm not sure that it actually means anything. I noticed that the square and circle hitboxes don't seem to quite line up pixel for pixel all the time, but I think it might just be a matter of how the circles are drawn. In the starting position here, you can see, if you look carefully at the circle, it kind of looks like it's 1 pixel too narrow or something. But if I move a little, it changes, so that suggests to me that it might just be the drawing of the circle or something. I don't know what the purpose is of the circle versus square hitboxes in the code or anything, so yeah, I can't really say anything very helpful about that, but it was just something I was looking at. That's turning the light and the shadows, or the lighting, on and off. The shadows. Then, no, that's the lighting. This is the shadows. So we can turn it all off and just have this. Honestly, this is a little easier on the eyes, in my opinion. I mean, it looks like it's broad daylight as opposed to darkness, but and honestly, even this, like without these sort of meme shadows, I think this is kind of nice. I would make these the area that these lights light up a little wider, probably, if that was feasible. So it's not like all this dark and then just like these points of intense light. And also the light on the cursor kind of hurts my head after a while. It's just so intense, the spotlight. But yeah, in my opinion, this looks better without these excessive fake shadows. But just my opinion. Anyways, might as well wrap this up. Interesting so far. And I'm curious about where you intend to go with it. So for sure, I'll plan to check it out in the future if you continue to participate in demo days. And let me know if you have any questions for me. And I will see you guys in the next video.